The Syracuse University grad school has gotten rid of its application fee for SU undergrads. CitrusTV reporter Byron Tollefson is in studio to tell us what prompted the change.
And President Trump is in Pittsburgh to mourn the victims of this weekend's shooting at a local synagogue.
And the newest updates on the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. CitrusTV News starts right now.
This is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
Well, Drew, it's that time of year again. We just got through midterms and students are already making schedules for next semester. Not only that, but those of us who are seniors are now looking for grad schools. I'm Claudia Bellofatto.
Okay, Claudia, I'm Drew Carter, and I totally understand. I don't want to graduate either, but CitrusTV reporter Byron Tollefson is in studio with us to explain how Syracuse University is trying to help undergrads who are considering grad school.
Syracuse University announced that if you're a student at SU, you can apply to SU's grad school for free. The application fee used to be $75, but now it's $0 for SU undergrads. This announcement comes at a time where applications are on the decline at some major graduate schools. In early October, the Graduate School Management Council reported that applications to MBA programs dropped for a fourth straight year. At Harvard Business School, applications dropped by almost 5%. That's the highest drop since 2005. In addition, this January, the Council of Graduate Schools reported that enrollment by international students is down for the first time in a decade. I spoke with SU's Executive Director for Graduate Enrollment, who says the declining applications are due to a strong economy.
So this is a time in the U.S. where graduate studies has declined a bit because the job market's very strong. So students are looking to graduate, get right into the job market.
Now the question is, was the decision to waive the application fee made to bring in more students?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's increasing applications, and I think it's also, ameliorating the cost of applying to grad school.
I also spoke with an associate dean at Newhouse's graduate school, and he said the school gets between 600 and 700 total applications and enrolls about 200 students.
So obviously the ratio in terms of the number of applications and number of students is much lower on the graduate level.
The SU grad program is hoping that it will keep more students who are current undergrads by waiving the fee. Now each college has its own deadline, so be sure to check the university's website. Byron Tollefson, Citrus TV News.
Thanks, Byron. Information Technology Services is now offering more protections for students' email accounts. ITS announced today that they've enabled a two-factor authentication for Outlook accounts. This means there will be an extra step to ensure only account owners are able to access their emails. This change will make it more difficult for hackers to gain student information. Students can access the two-factor option by visiting netid.syr.edu. Students and professionals are being encouraged to become teachers today at a summit right here in Syracuse. The Syracuse Teachers Association and New York State United Teachers are hosting the event. This is the first in a series of summits that hope to help the state combat a projected teacher shortage. 1/3 of New York State teachers are expected to retire in the next 3 years. The Syracuse teenager who struck and killed a toddler was sentenced to from 3 to 9 years in prison this morning. Felix Santos was only 18 years old when his car jumped the sidewalk where 2-year-old Jameson Stanford was playing last May.
Santos had been driving twice the speed limit while under the influence with only a learner's permit. He fled the scene after the accident and was found by police 600 miles away in North Carolina. Santos faced up to 15 years in prison for the incident.
The gunman who shot a Syracuse man last night is still on the loose. Police responded to the call after a victim was found along the street. The 21-year-old man had been shot multiple times in the leg and stomach and was transported to Upstate University Hospital. He's expected to make a full recovery. The victim stated that he was walking on Dablin Court when he was shot, but did not see the gunman. Police currently have no suspects and urge anyone with information to contact the police.
The race for Senator John DeFrancisco's 50th district is now the most expensive in the district's history. Republican Bob Antonacci and Democrat John Mannion have already spent a combined $2 million campaigning for DeFrancisco's seat. The $2 million is the most in the history of the 50th district and one of the most expensive in the state.
The seat has been occupied by Republicans for the last 53 years, but Democrats feel the seat is vulnerable.
New York State is accusing a national jewelry retailer of preying upon military members. The state's lawsuit claims Harris Jewelry duped active duty military members into paying up 600 to 1,000% more than wholesale price on jewelry. The company is also accused of baiting military members into signing contracts with illegally high interest rates. The scheme involved employees luring military members inside stores using teddy bears dressed in military clothing.
In mid-September, the Marshall apartment building opened to residents, even as construction continued on the structure. CitrusTV reporter Ricky Sayers explains how a deal struck between the Marshall's owner and the city is keeping residents safe.
Anyone who's walked on Marshall Street recently has noticed the Marshall, a just-opened apartment building right off campus. Residents of the building, many of which are Syracuse University students, are noticing something too. About 5 to 10 firefighters are regularly stationed around the building.
I know that they're here to protect us and serve a purpose.
That purpose can be tied to the building not opening on time. Residents moved in September, even as exterior work was still being done to the building. The firefighters are there as a result of a deal struck between the Marshall and the city. The Marshall's owners agreed to pay the fire department to have firefighters patrol the site, making sure everything is safe. In return, the state granted the Marshall a temporary certificate of occupancy, allowing for students to move into the building that is still under construction.
And the matter that's under code compliance review is the exterior wall assembly of the building, which is actually still being installed at this time.
To keep students safe, construction workers are only allowing pedestrians to walk under part of the building. The concern is that a tool or a piece of construction material being used to finish off the building will fall onto pedestrians walking below. Now, some students we talked to have been having some issues living in the building. One student said that her asthma has been acting up as a result of excessive dust created by construction. For others, the main issue is noise. Some students were told the building would be fully completed next month, but a construction superintendent told us he doesn't expect to finish the project until the end of the year. Ricky Sayers, Citrus TV News.
Thanks, Ricky. It has been 3 days since a gunman opened fire at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh and killed 11 people. Citrus TV reporter Justine Murray tells us how the Syracuse community is coming together to fight hate.
Okay, we'll get that story in just a minute, but for now, let's go to weather. We've got Riley Burg here in studio, and I actually think, Claudia, that there's a lot of construction still going on Marshall Street, so they got to be hoping for some good weather.
Absolutely. Let's see. What can we expect?
Well, let me tell you guys, today was an absolutely beautiful day. I mean, a little bit cold out, but let me tell you, when that sun was out, ooh, did it feel good. Right now, we're looking outside about 45 degrees, and as we move into tonight, we're just going to see partly cloudy skies, 36 for a high, no rain like we've been seeing. But if you're wondering if the sun is going to stick around, stay tuned, and I'll tell you more in my full weather forecast.
Okay, coming up on Citrus TV News, we'll have a little bit more on that story from the Pittsburgh Synagogue and how the Syracuse community is responding. But for now, we're going to take a short break. Come back with us. We'll have more weather from Riley and also a little more news from the Syracuse area.
Stick with us.
It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the Citrus TV Newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at CitrusTV News, your campus news leader.
Welcome back. President Trump is in Pittsburgh today to mourn the victims that died Sunday in the Tree of Life synagogue shooting. Funerals began today for the 11 victims and harsh criticism within the community for the Trump administration.
Pittsburgh Mayor Bellofatto joined several local and national politicians declining invitations to appear with the president. Jewish leaders in Pittsburgh demanded Trump denounce white supremacists or not come to the city in a petition that now has well over 30,000 signatures. Both religious and political leaders in the city have been critical of the administration's response to the shooting.
And with more about that story and how it's affecting the local Syracuse community, here's Citrus TV reporter Justine Murray.
The Jewish community at Syracuse University is still in shock after a gunman opened fire at a synagogue in Pittsburgh, murdering 11 people. While officials say the shooting is a lone act, the SU rabbi of Chabad sees this as a larger sign.
I think that we need to take this act as part of the larger context of history, where the Jews have been attacked by every nation under the sun.
Chabad partnered up with Hillel to host a candlelight vigil where both the Jewish and broader community honored the victims of the Pittsburgh massacre.
The way Jews have always responded to anti-Semitism and acts of violence that have resulted from anti-Semitism is we respond to darkness with the light.
The rabbi of Chabad encourages students at SU to take matters into their own hands and find ways they can improve society as individuals.
My message to the Jewish students at Syracuse is, don't wait for someone else to lead. You be the leader. You take initiative and do something and make a change for the better in the world.
Jewish students and non-Jewish students alike are writing hopeful messages on the quad with pieces of chalk to commemorate the Pittsburgh tragedy.
Instead of handing this person a victory, in trying to hurt the Jewish people, we should actually hand them a defeat by getting more involved and doing more Jewish things and displaying our Judaism in the public.
Justine Murray, Citrus TV News.
All right, thanks, Justine. The opening line to the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution says that all persons born in the U.S. are citizens of the U.S. The law was passed in 1866 to end the practice in southern states of not granting citizenship rights to former slaves. Since then, though, the amendment has been one of the most important citizenship laws in the United States.
Immigration advocates see the 14th Amendment as a basis for the American policy of birthright citizenship, which grants citizens to all persons born on American soil. President Trump says he is trying to find a way to end birthright citizenship via executive order rather than going through Congress. We are joined by Citrus TV reporter Jefferson Fenner, who is here to talk about the legality of the situation.
All right, Jefferson, so what's the precedent for this birthright citizenship?
So the precedent for this is really down to the interpretation of that first line, which reads, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens. And it's that jurisdiction thereof that really trips up a couple of people. Well, most see this as anybody that is subject to U.S. law, basically anybody within the United States. Conservatives see that that line was put in there to distinguish between citizens and visitors. And it was tested in an 1898 Supreme Court case, the United States versus Wong Kim Ark. Ark was a San Francisco-born child of legally residented Chinese immigrants. He wasn't allowed after he was coming back into the United States after a trip abroad. He sued the U.S. government, who didn't recognize his citizenship, and he won in a 6-2 decision. But in the dissenting opinion, it's the justices stated that jurisdiction meant that you weren't subject to a foreign power, and that's what conservatives are looking towards today.
Thanks, Jefferson. Trump said he could change this by executive order. What is the likelihood that this change will actually happen?
Well, it's not actually likely. In order to change an amendment, there needs to be a vote of a majority from the there needs to be a 2/3 majority vote from the House and the Senate, and then it needs to be ratified by 3/4 or 38 state legislatures. And there also needs to be a major mental change in the shift of the country towards this, and even prominent Republicans like House Speaker Paul Ryan have said that that wouldn't be likely.
All right, Jefferson. A little confusing, but thanks for being here to explain it all. All right, new details. James Whitey Bulger, the notorious former head of Boston's Winter Hill Gang, has died. Bulger was killed in his cell by at least 2 inmates at a maximum security prison in West Virginia this morning. His death came just 1 day after being transferred to the facility.
The former mob boss was sentenced to 2 life terms plus 5 years in prison in 2013 for his role in 11 murders. Bulger was second on the FBI's most wanted fugitives list for a dozen years before his arrest in 2011. He was 89.
Devastating news out of Indiana today. 3 students are dead and 1 severely injured after being hit by a pickup truck while preparing to board a school bus.
2 6-year-old brothers and their 9-year-old sister died on the scene. An 11-year-old boy broke multiple bones. The driver of the truck is a 24-year-old woman named Alyssa Shepard.
She's charged with 3 counts of reckless homicide and 1 misdemeanor count of disregarding a stop sign and causing injury. Police say Shepard stayed at the scene and cooperated with police, along with taking a blood test to determine if drugs or alcohol were involved. The cause of the crash is still unknown. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has more criticism earlier today from the Saudi government. Erdogan has clashed with the Saudis publicly in the fallout of the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
Today, the Turkish president accused the Saudi government of hiding information to protect someone involved in Khashoggi's murder. It is believed Erdogan is suggesting with these comments that the Saudi crown prince cleared Khashoggi's killing. Erdogan's comments came hours after Saudi Arabia's most senior prosecutor visited Istanbul. In Italy, deadly flooding hits Venice and Rome. Here you can see severe flooding in several storefronts, while areas like St. Mark's Square are completely underwater. Rescue crews say strong winds and heavy rain caused 9 deaths.
This is the worst flooding seen in Venice in the last decade. Authorities are closing schools and have advised against non-essential travel. Rome officials also issued a weather alert in anticipation of more storms in the coming days. The Indonesia plane crash that left 189 passengers presumed dead has instigated an inspection of the remaining planes in that design. The Lion Air operated Boeing 737 MAX 80 took off Monday morning and crashed 13 minutes later. Lion Air announced that it is inspecting all of its other Boeing 737s.
The plane had mechanical problems the night before the crash, but was given clearance following repairs. The cause of the crash remains a mystery. Lion Air has safety-related issues in the past and was banned from flying in Europe from 2007 to 2016.
And it's warming up tomorrow, as you can see behind me, but the question is there going to be sun with that warm air? I'll have the answer for you and more after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
Why couldn't the
Wait, why was the basketball court all wet?
Why?
Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where the cats go on vacation?
New York.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning? Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me? You're half as active as you used to be, and you eat stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit. I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me. Okay. But remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
And welcome back to Citrus TV News. And to, I'm sure, all of our surprises, it's warming up a bit, but not enough to wear shorts, and unfortunately, not enough for the sun to be joining that warm weather. As we take a look at tomorrow, we're going to see lots and lots of clouds, and then we're going to see scattered showers throughout the day. For your morning commute, we're looking at about 45 degrees, and then in between there and lunchtime, it's going to see some rain outside. Moving into noon, about 55 degrees outside, and then as we head into the early evening, about 56 outside. And looking at your 5-day forecast ahead, good news and bad news. Unfortunately for the bad news, we're seeing rain Wednesday through Friday. We're going to see high 40s to low 50s. But then as we move into Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, good news. If you're thinking about tailgating, it'll be perfect to do it. We're looking at partly sunny skies throughout most of the weekend, so the sun will be back. It's just gone for a little bit throughout the week. Drew and Claudia, back to you.
And now Syracuse football has a lot to prove this weekend. Plus, the NFL was buzzing today with trades galore. Find out who found a new home and much more coming up after the break.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
It's now officially go time for the Orange. Good evening, I'm Zach Allen. The accolades rang in this week for SU football, with Eric Dungy starting off being named ACC Quarterback of the Week yesterday. And now redshirt freshman kicker Andre Schmidt has been nominated for the Burlsworth Trophy. Now, this is a trophy where only one of 69 nominees gets this award for being the best walk-on in the country. Now, all that is great, but the Orange have cracked the top 25 for the first time since 2001. So now they need to show that they are no fluke. SU heads to Wake Forest this weekend, and head coach Dino Babers knows that this will have to be a well-calculated match if they want to leave with a W.
If you want to win on the road, you win with two things. Okay, you win. First of all, you need a team. You got to go there as a team. You can't go there as an individual. So I'll say three things. The second thing is you got to win the turnover battle. If you win the turnover battle, you're going to have a chance to win. The third thing is if you have to play extremely well in defense, because there's advantages to being at home. You know, we're just look at our home record, look at who we played, and look at how we've won.
And as Dino mentioned, the Orange are perfect thus far this season when playing at the Loud House, and just 1-2 on the road. Their matchup will kick off at 12 o'clock in Wake Forest on Saturday. Now moving to the other football, SU men's soccer is gearing up to start ACC tournament play. After finishing the season with a 7-5-4 record, the Orange only secured one win against the ACC, giving them the 10th seed in the tournament. Cuse now heads to Blacksburg, Virginia to take on Virginia Tech, the 22nd ranked team in the country. These two squared off earlier this season with the Hokies walking away victorious in a 1-0 match. The Orange will rely heavily on senior keeper Hendrik Hilpert, who sits at third in the ACC with 48 saves. This match gets underway at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Now today might be the day before Halloween, but it turned out to be a scary day for many across the NFL. The trade deadline was 4 p.m. today, and the league was abuzz with all the moves made. The day started off with Broncos wide receiver Demaryius Thomas getting traded to the Texans and only got crazier from there. We saw Golden Tate find a new home among the former Super Bowl champs in Philly. And if you want to talk scary, the Rams' defensive front four are scarier than any haunted house you'll see this Halloween. LA received Dante Fowler from Jacksonville and now has all former first-round picks lining up opposite their opposing quarterbacks. Fortunately for me, though, the clock struck 4:01 and Le'Veon Bell is still a Steeler, and for that I am thankful.
Okay, Zach, we see a lot of chaos in the NFL today, certainly a scary Rams front, but I want to go to Demaryius Thomas. I've got DeAndre Hopkins on my fantasy team. Is that bad for the Texans wide receiver?
No, I think that's great for him because Case Keenum was being very inconsistent thus far this season. Sure. And I mean, we just saw on Thursday night, DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller, they both were able to put up a bunch of yards and 2 touchdowns. I think Demaryius is going to do just fine.
I like that. But no Le'Veon Bell, though.
No Le'Veon Bell. He's still there. I'm still holding out hope that he comes back Thursday night against the Panthers in a week and a half. Okay. Fingers crossed.
All right. Fingers crossed.
Thanks so much, Zach. We'll be right back.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Taking care of a family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back, Drew. I love this story. I think it's genius. Reese's has come up with a clever way to help you exchange whatever Halloween candy you don't want.
Yeah, starting Wednesday afternoon in New York City, a Reese's candy converter will be set up on 5th Avenue. The machine will take your unwanted candy and swap it for Reese's peanut butter cups. Claudia, what is your least favorite Halloween candy?
Least favorite? I was gonna say I love anything Reese's. Maybe a Take 5?
I like Take 5s.
You like Take 5?
They're great,
okay.
but I actually have to do something right now. Okay. This is important. Everyone says Reese's, like Reese's Pieces. Wrong, it's Reese's. It is decided. No one can say Reese's anymore, or else you should be under arrest.
What? Reese's. Okay, Reese's.
Reese's, yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for now on Citrus TV News. Thanks so much for joining us.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV News and Instagram, and check out our website too.
I'm Claudia Bellofatto.
I'm Drew Carter. We'll see you next time.